So I've just put the rear mech back on. I was just having a look at the alignment and I've spotted that the bottom adjustment is incorrect on this. As you can probably see there, the pulley isn't properly in line with no tension on it. That bottom pulley should be completely in line with the bottom cog. So to adjust that, we go to the adjuster that says H. And hopefully I can do this without knocking the camera too much. Screw it in. You should be able to see the mech is moving up. And we're trying to line that up dead on. So that's the bottom adjustment. Top adjustment I can't show you properly because I can't get the camera in close enough to the wheel, but it's exactly the same. You pull it all the way to the top and then make sure it's lined up with the top. Whilst I've got the cable unattached, I'm going to take this opportunity just to lubricate up the bottom portion. I'm just going to use some Teflon based lubricant. Slide it up and down a few times. And then we make sure that's lined up. Carefully feed that through. And for now I'm just going to loosely do that up. We'll cover the adjustment properly in a minute when we've got the chain on. So I put the wheel back on to try and make it easier to ensure that the chain is going in the right place. I've set both mechs to the bottom positions so that there's as little tension on the chain as possible. When you feed it through, you just make sure that you go through all the right bits of the mechs. So we've gone through the front mech, we go around the cassette on the bottom cog, come to the rear mech. Now just got to make sure, there's normally a little guide here, you've got to make sure the chain goes inside that guide. Then it goes around the outside of the tension roller, and again there's another guide here, it must go around the inside of that. And then I've got my split link, and a split link all down at the back. And there we have it. That chain's on. At the minute, this chain's got no lubricant on it because we cleaned it all off earlier. So let's do something about that now. So we're just coming up to British winter time, so I'm going to use some wet lubricant, and I'm going to be making sure I'm putting it on the inside of all of these rollers. I'm going to start at the split link and just go all the way around. Oops. Okay, that's once all the way around, so I'm now just going to run the chain around a couple of times. Make sure it's gone into everything. And then just look through. I'm just going to use my finger to make sure we've rubbed it all on. If you think you've done too much, just get a cloth and wipe the excess off. But you're roughly looking for, it's like 1 drop per link. Now we come to adjusting the rear gears. This is actually a really simple process, and a lot of people I speak to often get really confused or unsure about the gears. The easiest set of instructions to follow, I found, has actually been the ones that come with the Shimano rear mech if you ever buy one. So what you do is you put it in either your middle or your biggest ring, depending on how many rings you've got. You have all the tension off, so the cable is loose, and then you click it twice up. Now, as you saw, that only moved one. So then we apply tension using the barrel adjuster, and in a minute it's shifted up. We keep on applying that tension until you hear it rubbing on the next cog. Okay, so can you hear at the minute the chain is now rubbing on the fourth cog up, and we back it off till we just can't hear it rubbing, and then we have a half turn off on the barrel adjuster. So on these it's easy to see where a half is. Now that gives us a really good starting place for the gears. So if we just check that, one click each time, up and down. Up and down a few times. So my feeling on this, we're really close, but the gears are slightly reluctant to go up the block. They're coming down really nicely, but they're slightly reluctant going up, so we're just going to give it, I don't know, 1/8 or 1/16 of a turn of extra tension. Okay, that's much nicer. And we're still slightly reluctant. We'll check. It's important to check up and down. It's moving down nicely, so we're just going to give it a tiny bit more. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I am really happy with how this performs. I'm a bit of a sticker in my gears, so I like them to work properly. There we go, that's moving up nicely. Okay, and that's it. The front mech is really similar, but I haven't played with it this time, so maybe that'll be for another film. What I am going to do is just spray some GT85 or other Teflon based lubricant around the mechanism on the rear mech. It's important, if you're spraying an aerosolized lubricant like that, not to spray it near any of the braking surfaces or the tyres. Especially important if you've got a disc on. Maybe put a rag behind as you're spraying to make sure it doesn't go on there. So you can see the bike is now nice and clean and tidy. Everything's looking good. Whilst I was working on this bike, I did spot a couple of issues. I need to change the tyres. I've got a few little nicks and cuts in this one, and I also want to try a slightly wider tyre. Also my brake pads are worn out, so they'll be subject to more videos when the parts arrive.